and welcome to this edition of Wake Up and Live with the Arts. I'm Sue Johnson, your host, here at the Venerable Caramoo Theater on 89th and Quincy in Cleveland, Ohio, which has been in operation since around 1915, so that puts it up to 100 plus years of being about the longest running African American theater. Though it really is a diversity theater. It's not just for African Americans, so that's important to remember. And what else is important to remember is that Aida is the closing production for this season. It is directed by the Tony Sias, CEO and president of Caramoo. And it runs from May 23rd to June 16th. So be on the lookout for Aida. And it is, I think it's a Tim Rice, and I forget who the other folks are. But anyway, please check out Aida. Call 216-795-7070 for your tickets. And you'll also want to know about Caramoo's Hall of Fame induction, and it is called A Night Over Egypt. This is a special event being held on June 8th here in the Jalif Theater, which has been recently remodeled and is a gorgeous facility. And this Night Over Egypt has been an institution for a few years now, and it is in conjunction with Aida and the arts and the openings of other things going on. And you have to come to Caramoo to see what Tony Sias, the CEO and president, and his staff and the board of directors have done to really begin bringing Caramoo up to a wonderful state-of-the-art facility. And part of that facility this evening is our first guest, Peter Anthony Fields. Welcome, Peter. Glad to see you. It's been quite a long minute.
Yes, it has.
And in fact, many of you will recognize Peter as being a filmmaker around town par excellence. And like all creative people, he has now moved into another milieu, if you will, because you've had some situations develop in your life that make it a little difficult to continue your film creativity.
Yes.
So now you have moved into authorship of books and plays. Yeah, well, what happened with you that you did have to kind of leave the film industry aspect?
In 2015, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And prior to that, I noticed that it was getting very difficult for me to do the work of filmmaking the way I used to. You know, my body would tire very quickly. I would have trouble making decisions. And it was just multitasking was difficult for me. And then in 2015, I went to the doctor because I knew something wasn't right because my coordination was off and I was very slow moving and I had tremors. And so they diagnosed me with having Parkinson's. And so since then, I've had to make a shift in what I do creatively. I couldn't do the films anymore, so I shifted my talents to writing plays and books, and so that it's been a really good ride in that area since then. So.
Well, now, having switched from filmmaking to authorship, if you will, were you already a creative writer? Did you write your own films at the time? Where does your interest in writing prose come from?
My interest in writing came from when I was a kid. My mom would take my brother and I to the library every week, every other week, and I would check out books, stacks of books, and just read them because I loved reading and diving into the stories, and so that's really where the spark came from. And since then, I've loved books ever since. And as far as the films, I've co-written a number of the movies with my mom, Evonne Fields Gould.
And yeah, let's mention your mom, because not only did she help you with your filmmaking endeavors, she now has helped you in your writing. You have a novel here called A Bond of Love, and it is co-written or definitely
Written,
written by
written by
Evonne
Fields
Fields
Gould.
Gould. That's called The Mama. So creativity runs in the family. Tell us a little bit about this novel.
This is a novel that began as just an idea that I had, a very basic idea of an older woman talking to two children in the backyard. So that's all I had, is that vision in the summertime. And so I told my mom, I said, I have this image of an older lady speaking to two children in the backyard in the summertime. Do whatever you want with that. And so she took that little germ of an idea and created this 300 plus page novel
About a grandma
about,
type figure, a mama type figure,
yeah,
talking to.
it actually it covers the life of a woman from World War II all the way through to the 1990s, and it's about her life and the struggles that she had to endure and the lessons that she learned and that she's passing on to these two children and their parents. And it's a wonderful story. It covers the nurses during World War II, the black African nurses, African American nurses in World War II, and as well as the Tuskegee Airmen. And so it has a strong historic content to it, and it also has a very warm family aspect as well. And it's a wonderful book. I'm very proud of my mom for what she did.
Of course, and I love it when children and parents work together and develop the creativity. And among the things you mentioned about the African American nurses in World War II, you also mentioned the Tuskegee Airmen. So off camera, I'll talk with your mom more. James McGilbray, our videographer, and I are working with Roy Richardson, one of the local remaining Tuskegee Airmen, who's in the process of writing his memoirs at this point. So I have a deep appreciation for like the Tuskegee Airmen, and I don't think a lot of folks, including myself, were completely aware about all of the African American nurses in World War II.
Yes.
Yeah. What were some of the things that your mom remembered to tell through her main character about some of the struggles, some of the life lessons? Do you recall?
As far as being a nurse during World War II?
A nurse, a person, a mother?
Yeah, as far as being a nurse, it was difficult because they had to, they hoped to be assigned to do some real good, and I believe a number of them were not given the opportunity that they could have had, and a nice amount also did. And as far as being a person in general, it's her struggle. The character's name is Eleanor, and it involves her struggle with her mother, acceptance, and the problems. The life that her mother led affected how she parented her daughter Eleanor. And so there was a lot of issues going on in that area with Eleanor's life. And then she vowed that she would never love again because of a loss that happened in the story, which I won't tell. You have to read the book to find out.
And speaking of which, I don't mean to cut you off, but how will our viewing audience get their hands on this book? Is it in bookstores? Is it Amazon? And all the new ways to buy materials now? Where can someone locate it?
It is on Amazon.com. Just type in A Bond of Love, Evonne Fields Gould, and in a search, and you should come up with the location to buy the book. It's also in Kindle.
Okay, and is it in bookstores physically at all, or is it strictly online?
Strictly online.
Okay, so that'll make it easy for most folks. Yeah. Now, your mom has been busy writing, and this is a beautiful cover with the hummingbird and the flowers. But don't play you cheap, because you've been busy writing as well. And this is a novel, A Faraway Place by Peter Anthony Fields. Tell us, when did you start writing this?
I actually started writing when I was a senior in high school, and that's where my first notes for it began. And for those years, almost 30 years now, I've been jotting down notes that would eventually become the novel that is there. And so, yeah, it's been a long journey for that book.
And tell us a little bit about, I see, looks like a young knight or a page in front of, holding a sword in front of what appears to be a castle. It kind of looks like a tarot card. Um, yeah, well, tell us a little bit about the story in this particular novel.
The story, it's a book for middle grade readers, primarily for kids in 5th, 6th, 7th grade. And it's about a young boy who must travel to a parallel world in order to stop a evil king from taking over our world and his world that he lives in. And so it's a lot of fun. It's an old-fashioned adventure story, suspense adventure. I think it's a lot of fun for kids. My doctor's son, they ordered a copy of A Faraway Place, and he loved it so much that he made it the topic of his book report. And that was great to hear because that means everything to me, that the kids like it.
Yeah, recognition, even though you didn't ask for it, for work well done. And is this something that you approach teachers about, educators about taking advantage of, or is it online to get that way?
Yeah.
How does somebody get this line, and how do you get the book? Not go online. Yes, get the book and go online. Yeah, I can do that.
Yes.
And do you reach out to educators about this story is available for their classwork?
Yes, it is available for any educator in the schools or homeschooling to purchase through Amazon.com. And so, Faraway Place, Peter Anthony Fields, you'll get it. And so, yeah, I highly encourage any educator to purchase it, and it's for the kids. And there's nothing like giving literature or genre books for children to read, and it makes such a big difference in their lives, I believe.
And I wish we would go back. I'm an old English teacher. I taught high school, but I got involved with a conversation with a banker earlier today. And he was of an age, and we got to reminiscing about the days of literature in school, and reading the classics and becoming immersed in the literature and what all it meant and so forth.
Right.
And we also, we spent a few minutes talking about what is one of the most unbelievable things of the many about our American education system. I think one state, I heard it on the radio station last week even, and it's say Colorado, Texas, somewhere, that they finally are putting cursive writing back in the curriculum. Whoever in life heard of them taking it out of the curriculum?
Right.
I'm not going to do our American education system or our politics because we'll be here all night long.
Yes.
But this one is it's not fun looking because this guy is having some issues with a backpack. Oh, he's in film. And a gun is at his feet. This is called The Unimaginable Now. And tell us what this is about, because this makes you not only a novelist, but a playwright, this particular book.
Yes, this is a collection of 4 short stage plays that I wrote, and I call the whole collection The Unimaginable Now because it's about the unbelievable situation that we find ourselves in on this planet, with not only our American government, but what's happening in Britain and in other countries overseas, and it's just unimaginable that we are at this place right now. And so this addresses some of those issues. The gentleman who seems to have an issue there is a zombie, and
he's a zombie.
He's a zombie, and I don't like zombie material per se, but it felt right to do it for this story, which deals with a president of the United States.
Excuse me.
And it involves.
I'm sorry. I got to get this out of my I'm being good. And you
Okay.
said, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. Yeah, it's somewhat humorous. The story, the play, is somewhat humorous, but it's also very serious. The point that I'm making in the material, and so the president gets locked in a storage room
Good.
with with a press secretary, a reporter, a journalist, and so because there's a horde of zombies outside the storage room, and they are this particular president, whose name I can't remember what name I gave the president, but
Okay.
it's not the one you think.
Yeah, I know.
And so those are his people, the zombies, and his followers, and they.
Are you sure we don't recognize this president in our country right now?
Gosh, I don't know.
Zombies, lilies to the sea. Okay, go ahead. Howard.
So it deals with that whole issue and why the president has zombies working for him and threatening their lives. And the Slate Board deals with another story called Asher Brown.
This is for film work. Yes.
Yes, and Asher Brown is an actor who's at the top of his career early in his life, and there's another gentleman who's threatening to take that all away from him. And the backpack involves the story about a woman who has a very unconventional way of solving the problem of our children going astray.
Okay.
And and then the gun at his feet represents the first story in the book called Burden. And Burden is about how a Protestant minister and her brother struggle to come to terms with a school shooting that happened in their area that morning. And it's a very intense story. And so they all come from important places in me where I needed to address these issues that I'm seeing happening in our world. So that's the purpose of this book. That's actually the first edition of the Unimaginable Now. I also have a second version. It's called the Revised Edition. It's a different cover, and it includes another play that I wrote, and so they're also on Amazon.com.
Okay. Now, were these all self-published, or did you actually have a publisher assist you with these?
They were self-published,
which is not uncommon
Right.
For authors and playwrights to get their materials out there.
Right.
And you do have to be careful. Spend just a moment before we wrap up this segment sharing with our audience some of your recommendations about if you are going to self-publish. These are some of the things I recommend that you do or don't do.
Okay, that's a very good question. I recommend that you have your story written the way that you want it, as close as complete as you feel you can get it, because stories are actually never complete. You can always keep working with it, but get it to a place where you're really comfortable with, and have really good artwork for your cover. If you can't do it, maybe you can find a friend who can do it, or someone who can help you out with that, with graphic design.
You seem to have a brother who you might want to talk to, huh?
Yeah, my brother is he's really good with a lot of things, and it's great. He's a great brother, and it's great to have him around.
And he and your mom have been assisting you with your mobility issues. His brother's name is Cornelius. Mom is Evonne Fields Gould. So we want to give them a shout out and thank them for assisting you to get here. Now, is it your intent to see your plays performed at all?
Yes.
Or is this more of an artistic, not rhetoric, that's not the right word, but just a self-expression thing? But would you like to see these produced?
Yes. I would love to see my plays produced. And in fact, I have two plays which were performed at the Fade to Black Play Festival in Houston, Texas.
Oh my, good.
In 2013 and in 2018. And I've had a play performed in London at an off West End theater,
Theater. Uh-huh.
called the Lost Theater, and that play was called About Michael, and that was a real thrill for me. And I've had other plays that have been performed at Kent State University, and these plays that are in the Unimaginable Now and they are royalty free. So I wanted to make it easy because these are short plays, and so if you're an artistic director or a director or actor who wants to mount these plays, they are royalty free, and you can mount them. Just all you have to do is email me, let me know what you're doing, send me pictures, and keep in contact with me. That's all I ask, and so they're yours to perform.
That's beautiful. Now, in order to contact you, what email address or phone number and/or website do you prefer that we let our viewing audience know about so that anybody can connect with you?
My website address is www.peteranthonyfields.com, and my email is peteroctb@gmail.com.
Okay. And we'll have those on the screen so that our audience can see how to get in touch with you. Peter, I am so impressed. I am so happy to see you after all this time.
Same here.
I am so inspired to see you as now a performing artist and creative artist who has reached the ADA stage, Americans with Disabilities stage, which means please do not let that keep you from contacting him, connecting with him. If you decide to do his plays at this level, he will get assistance from his family to help him get to the various locations, though they may be modified. Like I have to be, if there's steps, I have to make sure there's a railing for me to use. So, right. But Peter is not letting a physical limitation keep him from manifesting his dreams. And we want you to do the same. So thanks again, Peter. My delight and pleasure. And like I say, I'm awfully inspired and impressed that you have not let a physical situation keep you from expressing your creativity.
Yes.
Love you, miss you. Hope to see you more often.
Absolutely.
Than every 20,000 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for being our guest on Wake Up and
pleasure.
Live with the Arts. And we usually say at the end of each second, be sure to wake up and live with the arts every day. See you soon.